Let me try again. Support for Cinema Classics comes from Film Columbus, enriching our community to make Columbus a destination for film education, exhibition, and production. Learn more at filmcolumbus.com. Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows every Thursday at 8:01 p.m. and full shows online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
And this is Redford's time.
I'm assuming you mean Robert Redford.
You're right.
Are there any other Redfords out there?
No, I know a guy named Redfield.
Do you?
And his first name is Bob.
Okay.
All right, so he
close enough.
It's close.
Does he reap any of the benefits of being that close and given nomenclature to Robert Redford?
Given his current wife, I think he has reaped some good benefit.
Cool.
From
that.
Good
Good job, Bob.
He's an old man in the gun.
Yes, this is presumably his last starring role.
Yeah, right.
You think?
He's 82, but he's still got the Sundance Kid charm.
Yeah.
He's still got
I know. I can't take my eyes off of this guy anytime he's on camera.
And believe me, the camera is on him most of that film.
Yeah.
All right, now he's given I figure 78 entries in his filmography.
Mm-hmm.
He has only one nomination for Best Actor.
Is that right?
And
don't tell me what it is. It's not Out of Africa, is it?
No, it isn't.
Is it All the President's Men?
No.
Is it...
It's early on.
Early on?
Yeah.
Downhill Racer?
No.
What is it?
I had forgot about that one.
What is it?
The Sting.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
okay.
I think your responses are typical of what I think about him. He's so even.
Yeah.
You know, you could take any one of his roles and say, this is good.
The thing that makes Robert Redford great, and, you know, I had to grow into Robert Redford because he's not a showy performer in the way like De Niro or Pacino.
Right.
You know? He's never played these outwardly violent guys, so as a movie star, he takes some getting used to. You know what I mean? But as I get older, I become more and more fascinated and enamored of his style and his work.
Yeah.
If you think back on Robert Redford's career, I almost can't conjure up any scenes in which he's yelling at someone. You know, I love the great yelling scenes, John. The great Nicholson scenes.
The only time I can...
Pacino scenes.
All right, no, listen.
De Niro.
You're
Redford doesn't yell at
The only time I remember him yelling?
Yeah.
When they're on the cliff.
Yeah.
And he says, I can't swim.
Right.
I don't even know if that's yelling.
Yeah, well, he yells when they jump off of the cliff, for sure.
Yeah, well, and that's great because we remember him, his defining film role would be as the Sundance Kid in Butch Cassidy in '69.
Right.
And then from that comes one of the great institutions, cultural institutions in our country, the Sundance Institute.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that film, and he says that film changed his career. But I want to go back to a thing you said.
Yeah.
Again, you didn't even know when you're insightful. But you're talking about Pacino and so on.
Uh-huh.
He was the first choice, I believe, of Robert Evans for
The Godfather.
For The Godfather.
Right, they wanted him to play Michael Corleone.
Exactly.
Because at that time, a lot of ethnic types weren't, real ethnic types weren't cast in those parts.
Yes.
You know, there was a movie like a couple of years right before that in the late 60s called The Brotherhood, which was a mafia movie starring Kirk Douglas as the Don. So, yeah, Francis Ford Coppola insisted on casting real ethnic types.
Pacino had won a Tony on Broadway. So he knew that Pacino was good. And Evans just was really hooked on Redford. But as we see, and as they say, a star was born with Pacino. All the President's Men you mentioned.
Oh, man.
I think those guys working together incomparable.
Oh, some of the best screen chemistry I've ever seen.
Yes, yeah. And that was 76. Now, and you mentioned, too, The Natural, because at the University of Colorado, he was a pitcher on the baseball team.
Is that right? I did not know that.
He was an athletic guy. I mentioned downhill racer as a skier, but he lost that position in Colorado for over drinking.
Is that right?
He was a bad boy.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but he retained that physicality particularly through that And it was some question, why his face is so ravaged. I mean, let's face it, the guy's 82. But in part, it's because he's an outdoor guy.
Yeah, and you know what? I remember that criticism about him as far back as the 90s. Like, oh my God, look at Redford's face.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I thought, aren't faces like that great?
Oh, of course, and absolutely. And when you see this film, Old Man and the Gun, you can tell they love his face. Most of the movie is on his face, and it's so
glad
funny
that he's never
it's
succumbed to
craggy. There is something in his knowing smile.
Mm-hmm.
There is something about the way he slowly and lowly gives out his lines.
Yeah.
And there's behind that, there's an awful lot of wisdom that he doesn't force out.
And the great thing about Robert Redford, and it's something that I think movie fans don't pay attention to when they're looking at their favorite performers. He is just as interesting to watch listening to the other actors, reacting.
Yes.
The way he listens
Excellent, yes.
to the other performers on
Yes.
screen is really kind of mesmerizing.
Oh.
In a way that you're not paying attention when other people do it.
We do know that he did receive one Oscar.
For Best Director.
Yes.
Ordinary People.
For Ordinary People. Isn't that interesting?
Mhm.
How, and that, I forget what year that. No, that's in 1980.
Yeah, 1980.
So all those years back, he had the potential to be a great director, and he didn't. In fact, he is one of, somebody says,
Yeah.
he is one of, all right. Oh yeah, here it is. One of 6 people to win an Academy Award for Best Director, though they are mainly known as actors.
Okay. Kevin Costner.
Yeah, you are good. Yeah.
Who else?
God, who knows? Oh, darn. Warren Beatty,
Ah,
Mel
Red.
Gibson, Mel Gibson,
okay. Braveheart.
Richard Attenborough.
Gandhi.
Yeah, and you're right. So Beatty, Eastwood, Gibson, Attenborough, and Costner, and him.
Cool.
And I just thought that was kind of interesting.
His other great movie as a director, he's directed some other films that aren't that terrific. I'm not a big fan of A River Runs Through It, but Quiz Show
Quiz Show
with
is
Ray
great.
Fiennes is
Yes.
great.
Yes. He also did, I think he directed Milagro Beanfield.
Yeah.
With Reuben Blades.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Yeah, and it's not a great movie,
Yeah.
but it was so clearly issue-oriented. And
Right.
He's an issue-oriented guy. He tries not to be,
Mm-hmm.
but he is.
And he's not, he's also unfairly overlooked as a comedic actor. Some of his, I'm thinking of like the Electric Horseman
Yes.
and the way he plays off of Jane Fonda, or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and
Right.
Sting. Oh my God, that is terrifying.
Very good.
Is that a masturbatory gesture? Are you guys gonna review Halloween
Of
here
course.
in a minute?
No, right after we do our
Yeah.
Android.
What do you mean?
We're doing androids today.
Who? Oh, me and you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I
All right.
I
Yeah.
was like-
Yeah. No, he knows that we're going
Okay.
to do it. All right.
All right. I mean,
That's enough time for Robert Redford.
Is it? He's not out of time. I don't want to stop talking about this guy.
Yeah, well, I don't know what there is to say other than that we don't believe he's going to retire at the age of 82. Is
No.
that
Wait.
correct?
One last thing. Let me just
Yes.
say one last thing. A film that he made recently, All Is Lost.
All is lost. Yeah.
Where he's just on a boat that's
Yeah.
sinking,
Yes.
and the guy's alone. It's not a great film, but if you want to see how one actor who knows his relationship to the camera, if you want to see that sort of masterful control over a performance, that's a movie to take a look at.
Yeah. And I think I cataloged about a couple of lines that he had in that movie.
I think he says the F word once.
Right.
you.